The joys of getting a new 3D printer for gaming and instantly feeling overwhelmed with the incredible amount of models available online. Eventually, you too can amass a collection of printed minis that will probably never be painted. But that's half the fun of this hobby. So let me help. In today's video, I'll share some of the modelers who have made it a pleasure to make all of these minis and terrain. Hi everyone, I'm Danny, the 3D Printing DM. Welcome to 3D Printed Tabletop, a channel where we cover all things 3D printing for your tabletop games. Pablo from Arizona, who's a master of Dragonkin backer, asked for a video on the modelers you follow, why you follow them, and an update on what they are doing. So this one's for you, Pablo. Thanks for your support. First on the list, Miguel Zavala, aka MZ4250. Now, if you're on my channel, there's a good chance you've at least heard of him or are here partially because of his work. Miguel's been modeling all of the official D&D monsters and releasing them to the community for free for the past 4 years. He's now caught up through all of the modules and he's working through Tomb of Annihilation. One thing I'll say is that his sculpts have really improved over time. He's a boon to our community. I don't print a lot of Miguel's models because frankly, I have a lot of stuff that I have to print and I kind of have to pick and choose. So he's got so many, I can't print them all. But whenever I have that monster that I need modeled for a specific encounter or something like that, I always check out his shapeways and I am never let down. I support him because his models are pretty much the reason I got a 3D print in the first place and kind of fell into this hobby. So if you want to support him, Patreon is the best way to do so. Up next, we have Arian Croft and Jeremy Larson, also known as Illgotten Games. Arian and Jeremy have been making models pretty much since the beginning of 3D printing time. For context, they've released almost 900 designs on Thingiverse alone, which is almost 900 free designs. Can't think of a genre or category that they haven't touched either. I think all of it is free. If not, it gets eventually released to the public. I support them because they are hands down the most prolific and most varied source of free models in our community, hands down. If you want to support them, Patreon is also probably the best way to do so. Third on the list is Duncan Shadow Luka. I've been a fan of Duncan's since before my very first video. Before there were all of these Patreons, Duncan was the trailblazer in that space. Honestly, he's consistently made models that I love printing, but I love painting them. For me, they have just the right level of detail for a printed piece that makes it really fun to paint and looks great on the table and meshes really well with non-printed pieces. He covers all genres, listens to his patrons. I support him because I think the value is incredible for what he makes, and he makes the type of minis that I use personally in my D&D games. So best way to support him is definitely Patreon as well. Next up, we have Tom Tullis and his team at Fat Dragon Games. Now, I say Tom, but it's really Tom and his team. They aren't as prolific as everyone else on this list as far as how many minis they've made, but they're here for one reason. At the moment, I think they're the best source of support-free miniatures. Right now, at the end of the 2018 market. There are others who are making this kind of mini, but this is something that Fat Dragon Games has gotten really good at. And their minis are, for me, a great standard to see, if your printer is working well, if your settings are good for supportless minis, right? Also, Tom just recently started a YouTube channel called Tomb of 3D Printed Horrors, which is doing amazingly well because he's filling a more technical role than kind of what my channel focuses on. And he's really good at it. He has so much experience and he's got these really clear explanations that are awesome as well. So aside from the minis that he's doing, he runs that channel, which has been really beneficial and really helpful to me as well. I am really glad he's on this platform, helping out the community as well. Best way to support them is through their website, fatdragongames.com. Next up, we have Moray. I hope I pronounced that right. Also known as Printed Obsession on My Mini Factory. Morgan's a relatively newcomer to our community, but I've been printing his stuff since I've been printing as well. He's made a lot of fan models for different games, like this Cthulhu Zenyatta, who never made it into my game as a giant mind flayer thing. But he's really started focusing lately on D&D minis as opposed to other fan sculpts. I support him because he has a very distinctive style. It's almost cartoony, but still really stylish. So right up my personal alley. Best way to support Morgan right now is through his storefront on My Mini Factory. Number 6 on our list is William Chamberlain, aka Valandar. Now, Valandar started actively making models for the community earlier this year, even though he's been making them for a long time and sharing them on Thingiverse for a while. He is probably runner-up from Miguel for the most character minis, meaning minis that can probably be used as main characters for RPGs. What I really enjoy about his models are the proportions. In my opinion, he's nailed those heroic proportions and that weapon detail size combo for printed minis for 28 millimeters on FDM printers in particular. They look great on resin, but printing on FDM, you have to have certain considerations, and he gets that. This is one of the reasons I asked him to make some more Dragonborn for Lost Dragons Kickstarter. He's also incredibly fast and releases all the minis he sculpts on his YouTube channel for free. So the best way to support him is through Patreon. Next up, we have Ryan Biesecker, aka Orphan, and one part of Heroes Horde. You probably know Ryan as a terrain maker, but Ryan's on this list because he's my favorite supplemental mini modeler. You're probably wondering why I stopped the video. Well, I made a boo-boo. Even though Ryan made these supplemental minis, most of them were remixes from Illgotten Games' Townsfolk Kickstarter, who we already met earlier in the video. This cute little pooper scooper. He also has a ton of scatter terrain too, so bonus points. All right, back to the video. I support him because his models, along with Miguel's, were part of why I got a printer in the first place, and because he's given so many of them for free to the community. You can support him by buying his premium sets on Heroes Horde. And for my sci-fi folks, I have not forgotten about you guys. Next up, we have Mario Bassano, also known as That Evil One on Thingiverse. I just recently started collecting Warhammer 40k models, and I'm learning the game and the lore, slowly. But I decided to start with Imperial Guard, and Mario's put a lot of work into sharing some of his custom troops for 40k, and coming from D&D, his work has honestly helped me connect with the 40k universe a little bit more by having a more custom troop. He's got a ton of stuff on Thingiverse for free, but you can also support him on Patreon. Next up, we have Matt King, aka Garen. Matt's been printing custom bits for his 40k army for a long time, and just recently decided to start sharing them again with the community. He's also completely free on Thingiverse, which is nice. What makes his bits stand out to me though is that he has these spreadsheets to help you know specifically what you want to make the specific type of bits that you need for your Marines, which is mostly what he focuses on, but he has a lot of other stuff too. I think this is pretty much one of the best use cases for printers right now for like 40k models to still support the hobby and still have kind of the value of the customization that 3D printing can bring. And he's really supported it, and I think he's really made it really easy for people to kind of add the custom bits that they want. Next up is Will McKay. Now, Will McKay goes by Brexit online, and he's also another modeler in the 40k 3D printing community. For me, what Will is really good at, I think, is storytelling. And that's something you don't see as often from people modeling stuff for games, especially sci-fi games, since there's not a lot of sci-fi modelers. I think he's got a really great eye for posing, just having fun with the models. And I really hope he kind of continues to explore different kinds of miniatures, especially for, kit bashing outside of the typical sci-fi soldier. You can support Will by tipping him on Thingiverse once you download some of his sweet models. And of course, I know it's 10, but I have a few that are kind of bonus, want to add on, just 2. Number 11 is Ian Lovecraft, also known as Lovecraft Design. Now, Ian's a jack of all trades, right? I think he excels in the unique and historical aspect of minis and terrain. Commissioned Ian to make the Fire and Ice Twin for the Lost Dragons Kickstarter, and they're some of the most popular models from the Kickstarter because they print supportless. He just wrapped up a Kickstarter going on with a lot of dragons, dwarves, elven miniatures, just really cool and super unique sculpts. You can support him through his storefront, and you can also check out that Kickstarter, Riders of the Storm. He still has late pledges going as of this video. And a bonus number 12, us. In case you didn't know, we are still making dragons for Lost Dragons Kickstarter. These are the stretch goals at this point. And of course, lots of minis, but we've made a lot so far. It's been amazing to see lots of people printing them, and if you did miss out and want a late pledge, you can always support the channel by doing that. Let me just say it is really impossible to narrow this list down to only 10 or 11 or 12 in this case, but I could honestly be talking about this forever. So I had to put some type of a limit. For modelers in this video, it is because I've supported them. I've bought their products with my own money. And I think their work is cool enough to share. And I want to introduce you to it if you aren't as active maybe on the Facebook community or are new to 3D printing and see so much going on and kind of want to know some places to start. I want to be clear, I've received no money from any of them. In fact, none of them know I am making this video, so. And if you notice for this video, I did only mention 3D miniature modelers, not terrain modelers, because that's gonna be next month. They really need to be separate videos because there's so much good stuff going out there, and I didn't want to muddy it down or have a video that was too long and too overwhelming. I do support a lot more than is in this video though. And if you want to see who I support, you can check out my Patreon link, which is public. You can see some of the people that I support on there as well. I hope that was helpful, Miguel, and I hope for those of you who are new to the community, you found a new modeler that you can support. And now it's your turn. Is there a miniature modeler that I didn't include on this list? Or maybe that you love and you want to share with the community? Let us know by leaving a comment below. Looking forward to hearing from y'all. Happy printing and happy gaming.